Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, Cobalt Mood. It is Wednesday and I am feeling like a business owner today. I think it's because I've actually gotten paid a few times from different people, and that usually happens on Friday. So today started out, said goodbye to Scout, literally the best dog ever. Looking forward to having her back. So anyways, I got paid for the night stay. I had another client reach out, a private pay client, to add her into the schedule for just a few days in June. And I haven't really figured out when to get payment for private pay clients. On Rover, they have to pay in advance, even if it's like 3 months ahead of time, to block it off my calendar. And I really like that, but it feels weird asking them to do that personally. So I just tell them like, oh, just pay me the Monday of the week you're coming, sort of thing. Anyways, the lady that booked with me was like, I'm going to forget, so let me just pay you now. So got an advance there. And then I also had some pretty good sales today. So I love when I get good sales because I'm just like, yes, I'm doing the right thing. And these are like high dollar sales, which I also appreciate. So I'm going to go through that today. Before I really get into the weeds, I just want to say I am sorry about yesterday's video. While I did get it done and posted before midnight, so I still haven't broken my streak. I did post it about 3 minutes before midnight. I was not able to review it before posting, so while I didn't repeat myself, thankfully, I did cut myself off a few times in the editing process. I basically ended recording last night around 10. And then I realized, oh, wait a second. It takes me an hour to photo, hour to list, and an hour to edit. How's that possible to do in 2 hours? So I ended up like rifling through my box back there and finding like the easiest plush I could to list. And so I was able to get through all the photos in 20 minutes, which is world record. And then from there, I went straight into listings and I was like, you know what? We're just going to get this done in 40 minutes, even though it usually takes you an hour. And how I was able to successfully do both of those tasks, I think, is because I cared a lot less. I mean, I was going at a comfortable pace, but I wasn't really like getting into the weeds about price. I wasn't really like second guessing like item specifics. I just, let my experience lead, and I was like, it's good enough. I can always go back and fix it. So I went ahead and listed, got that done like right at the 40-minute mark. Then I had an hour to review my literal 30-minute video that I recorded, trying to get it down to 15 minutes. Yeah, I basically used AI to help me cut it down. Usually I let AI help me, but then make my own decisions, but I was running short on those and running short on time. So anyways, we locked it down into what was important, but yeah, when I watched it back, I was like, this is a very choppy video, so sorry it's not as smooth, but for me, selfishly, I was glad I didn't mess up my listing streak and I didn't mess up my vlogging streak. So I'm still a success story. Today, I have decided to stay home and list instead of sourcing. So I realized what's in between me really finishing this 4-week sprint is not getting 9 days worth of items. It's listing for the next few days. And I have the stock here, so it just makes sense to just stay home and knock it out. I've already done today's listings. I ended up deciding to go ahead and post all of the die casts I picked up, since those were going to be the most annoying to photo, research, list. I was like, let's just knock it out. I did learn that what I showed yesterday of the die cast was the cream of the crop. I thought I could maybe swing 30 for the rest of them, but there's actually quite a few listed already on eBay with the box, and I don't have the box. Anywhere from like 12 to 20 bucks. So gonna get lower than I want to, but I did get a sale for one of them that I posted literally 3 hours ago. And I think it's enough margin to pay for the whole lot, which is really how you want to source. If you're going to buy a large quantity of something or buy a collection, The best way to do it is pick out a few items that can get you your money back as fast as possible, and then the rest becomes profit. So anyways, what I sold today out of the die cast collection. And by the way, I sold this right before pressing play on today's video. I sold the bus. By the way, I cannot look at buses the same way. When I left for the post office today, just saw a bunch of buses, and they were these type of buses. I just was like, you're a really expensive die-cast car. So anyways, I posted this guy. I started at 105. I have a coupon I put on all my items, doesn't matter what they are, like immediately after posting, of 7%. And these are all business rules I have for myself, so like normal. If you're within the first 7 days of posting and you're watching the item, I will send you an offer of 15%. So somebody was at the 15% off. By the way, there were 3 watchers on this guy within 3 hours, so that's pretty good. The other ones that were listed were, man, hold on. I just had another thought come through while explaining this, which was, you were right. When you were saying this guy has 186% sell-through and it would sell immediately if you priced it right, I was right. That means I'm getting somewhere in life, and I'm very happy with myself about that, especially because I've always said sell-through is very hard for me to understand. All I know is that if the number of listed matches the number sold, it's 100%. Anything below or above that, I have no idea percentage-wise. Okay, I digress. So with my coupons and offers, it would have been around $85 at this point, which is fine, actually. I know that's quite a jump from 85 to 105, but the ones that have sold in similar condition of mine, no box, no stop sign over here, like we talked about yesterday, actually sold for $90. So I'm still within what I know the market will pay. So anyways, the guy offered me $75 for it. And I looked at it and I was like, do I want to negotiate and be like, oh, I just posted it. Can you meet me at 80? But then I was like, ugh, stupid. Do I want this bus or do I want $75? Okay, put that way, give me the money. So I accepted and he paid, and it is now out of my life. And I think it's going to be traveling to California. So good for that guy. He got a great deal. I won't know if it would have collected more watchers. Like the ones that sold for 90, it had 11 watchers on it. So who knows? There's probably a lot of old dudes looking for buses out in the world. So if you find a bus, like the one I found, even if it doesn't have the box, doesn't have a stop sign, doesn't have a side mirror, post it anyways. Make your money back. All right. One other thing that's yellow that I sold that I'm pretty happy about. Also, the gift that keeps on giving is Popples. So I showed Popples in a previous call. I remember when I picked him up, I was like, oh, he's so cute. His hair is matted, but because of the plastic eyes, indicators of value, and the tag confirms it, he is from 1985. This is probably desirable, right? So there were other ones listed, like worse quality in the face, but still had the hair. So I wasn't really sure how mine would perform, but I believed in myself and my ability to sell. And I ended up listing him for $45, and somebody bought him full price. So with shipping, they actually paid about $60. Okay, so now let's talk about the gift that keeps on giving. I talked about him on one of my calls with you guys, right? Then when I went to photo him, I found out he actually has a pocket. So I was like, okay, cool, he has a pocket. That's an interesting feature. And you know, a lot of dolls I find have pockets. And you know, kids just stuff their stickers in it or whatever. So I didn't think much of it. I just went, you know, to photo the next one. And then when I was pulling the numbers today for you guys, I was like, let me see, like, what did Popples look like in the, what did I say, 80s? What was the feature of this pocket? And I found, I don't know why I didn't look up this before, but I found out through other listings on eBay, some people had photoed him. Their cover photo was not this. This is my cover photo, right? Their cover photo was this guy inverted. And then I realized, what are the chances? Popples folds into himself. Right? Sure enough, he does. Look at this. I literally did this right before the call. Popples folds into himself, and he has a little patch that I definitely didn't photo because I didn't know this feature even existed. So yeah, cute little Popples. $60 is what I got for him, and he took 14 days to sell. So when I looked at, eBay, by the way, guys, this is not something I'm going to do, so I'm just going to give you guys a handout here. There are others listed on eBay right now. They're listed for like 20, 25, $30. If I sold him for 45, that's a little flip right there that you could do if you want to buy more Popples characters. Also, I was looking at antique shops to see, like, do you have plush? Because that's something I've been wanting to kind of explore and see if I can add a few antique malls or antique stores that carry plush. Some of that stuff is like not worth the price. Like, yes, it's the type of doll I would want, but they're a vintage booth that doesn't get many sales, so their inventory is priced way too high for me to do anything with it. Anyways, point is, I was looking at some photos online, and one of them actually had a Popples character, but their Popples was blue with, I think it also had pink hair. And I kind of zoomed in on it, and they listed it for like $60. I mean, I got mine for 45, so it's a little bit higher. But the point is, apparently Popples is one of those characters that everyone knows about. I mean, I'm just going to say my age here. Popples was created before I was born. So I don't know anything about Popples or the 80s because I was not around. So I don't know how popular he was. Maybe if you're an 80s kid, if you could enlighten me, that'd be great. Who knows? This could be like my version of Power Rangers. I don't know. But there were other colors of Popples, and clearly there is a demand for this guy to sell in 14 days with hair matting, which I always feel decreases the value. But I'm not going to question it. Popples is actually going to be going to Canada. So, goodbye, Popples. Between me and you, I feel like my employee, which is myself, has been doing an excellent job. And one of the things my employee really loves and actually really needs is a haircut. So I am gifting my employee, myself, a haircut. So that's going to be happening in about 30 minutes from now. I'm very, very excited about it because I actually have very thick hair and I'm just hot. It's just hot. So I'm looking forward to air being able to hit my scalp. I'll have lots of freedom blowing in the wind. And then when I get home, I'll be able to knock out a few more days of photos and listings. I know it's still a full day's worth of work, but I always just appreciate myself and my employee when she is able to focus and list a bunch and save herself from a stressful week instead of having to do all the things and then also source on top. Gonna get all this figured out, and then tomorrow I'm thinking I might actually do a bit of a route somewhere because while yes, I just need 4 days worth, it would actually be more helpful if I got 6 days worth because that would cover the 8th and the 9th, my bonus days. Those would be the 2 days following me getting back from my little trip with my parents, and sometimes my brain needs to rest after that experience of them. They're lovely people. They're just very different than me, and they're like more hyper than I am, and you guys know I'm like low energy, chill out, and they're like literal squirrels. So sometimes I just need a bit of a break. I need to whisper because my brain needs a lot less than they want to give me. So yeah, I think I might go ahead and do like a big route tomorrow and a big route if needed on Friday for the 8th and the 9th and the trip I'm covering in June. I don't need to actually list those items. I can do that day of. I just need to have the inventory. So it's coming together. 2 days into the sprint, feeling good. Love the progress, and just a few days away from just turning this all off for a week. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye!